Pledge of Allegiance, and tonight we will be led in the pledge by the students from Accurito.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. And don't go too far because you're up next. Mrs. Patel, would you like to start us in the Accurito student presentation?
I will. My name's Rupal Patel. I'm the coordinator for the Accurito Exchange Program. I would like to take a moment to thank the school committee, the superintendent, and the city for supporting this program and your continued support. And while I'm standing here, before I forget, I need to thank one person who is instrumental and very important in the running of this program from start to end, and that's Ayako Barnum. So I want to... I actually could not do this without her. So this year, for the 21st year, we took 12 students out of a nor'easter and into a typhoon. This year, 12 students' lives were, I hope, changed forever. And I am going to ask you to humor us with a short video. It's 3 minutes. And then I'm going to ask the students to come up and speak in front of the committee. Thank you.
Thank you.
So Mr. Strauss was holding the next generation of students, so we have to keep it going. I'm going to ask Ms. Roach to speak, and then we can have...
Good evening, everyone. I'm Heather Roach. I was one of the chaperones that went along with Mrs. Patel as well as Mr. Strauss to take these 12 students over to Akiruno. The experience not only that the kids had, but that I had was absolutely incredible. It's something that I will probably never experience again, and I'm so happy that I got to share it with these 12 kiddos. They had the best time. They learned a lot. We all learned a lot and had a wonderful, wonderful time. So thank you all so much.
Hello, my name is Sarah Garner, and I enjoyed my time in Japan. This trip was an experience of a lifetime, and I'll remember it forever. While I was there, it was hard to adjust from my very different life here, but it was great to see how quickly we became a second family. With this trip, I feel that I am more comfortable making connections, going into other cultures, and I feel much more independent. This trip will stick with me forever because of the relationships that I made. I still keep in contact with my host sister, and she is one of my closest friends. We always text about random things, and it feels like we are still together. Thank you for this opportunity that I will never forget.
Hello, my name is Alice, and I would like to thank you for giving me this amazing opportunity. It's changed my life and the way I think of it. This trip was filled with fun memories that I will cherish forever. I am happy I got to share these memories with my friends, and I'm happy I got to meet many other friends across the world. Although there were many fun parts of my trip, there were also challenges. One of the challenges was language. It was hard to communicate, but by using Google Translate, I understood what they were saying. Another challenge I faced was missing my family back home. But soon, it didn't even cross my mind because of how much fun I was having. This trip changed me for the better, made me more mature, independent, and understanding. One thing I'll keep with me forever is the amazing culture I got to experience.
My name is Taylor Femino. My trip to Japan was an amazing once-in-a-lifetime experience that not many people get, which is one of the many reasons I'm thankful to be given this opportunity. Thank you very much to everyone for putting this together and making it possible. This was by far the best part of my life, and I will cherish every moment forever. Japan is an amazing place filled with lessons and culture which I enjoyed learning about. I now see the world very differently and notice the little things I may not have earlier. Before I traveled to another country, I thought the biggest differences would be the language barrier and the food, but when I came back, that changed. One of the ways this trip has turned me and my perspective of the world is how similar we really all are. No matter how old you were, what language you spoke, or where you were from, we all shared the fact that people went from strangers to best friends and family in just a few days. I did not know anybody in my host sister's family or school, but now I'm still close with most of them. I still talk to my host sister every day, and sometimes I forget we're apart. I'm so beyond grateful for everything this city and school have done to keep this program alive. I can see myself in Akiruno again, seeing the people and places I made such strong connections with. Thank you very much.
Hello, my name is Risha Kandaria. I really enjoyed my trip to Japan. I felt very safe and welcomed by everyone that was there. One big challenge was the language barrier that we faced, but everyone tried their best to communicate with me and help me understand what was going on. The language barrier helped me understand how our EL students here feel during school. It was very hard to understand what was going on at school especially, and the fact that we had a challenge for only 3 days and the EL students have a challenge for years, it really changed my perspective. I've made so many memories in Japan and met so many wonderful people. This trip has taught me how to be responsible and independent. Without getting this opportunity, I wouldn't have been able to learn so much about a new culture and meet so many wonderful people. I'm beyond thankful to have gotten this opportunity to go on the trip. It's taught me so much and affected me in my life right now. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Ava Van Buskirk, and I really enjoyed my time in Japan. I cannot wait to go back. The questions that I got asked the most when I came back were, could you understand them, and was it awkward? When I arrived in Japan, I was so nervous for both of those reasons, but everyone was so welcoming and made me feel at home right away. Throughout the typhoon, the days in school, and the sightseeing, I felt so welcome everywhere I went. There was a language barrier, but everyone I met tried so hard to communicate with me, and we were always able to work it out. I think the trip made me more independent and confident, and I truly enjoyed learning so much about a different culture. I didn't realize how lucky I was to be going on a trip like this until it was actually here. I'm so grateful that I had the opportunity to have this amazing experience. I made so many memories and friends that will last a lifetime. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Gerson. I have enjoyed the Japan exchange program. I would like to thank everybody such as my host parents and God who has helped me and has heard my prayers, and the people who have helped during the program too. My favorite place that I have went was Asakusa, where all the traditional food and tools and clothes are. One of the challenges that I have faced was not understanding their language well, but I got through it. And not trying to think of my parents during the hard times when I felt like I did not feel home, but I got through it. And in school for me in Japan was strict and educated with the uniform and the ways that they do it. One of the things that surprised me was that they had recess for our grades, which was good for me. And their lunches is different, but ours is better, for my opinion. And I hope that the students that are going next year to enjoy the trip. Thank you for listening.
Hi, my name is Megan Douglas. I'm in 7th grade, and I stayed with the Sugiyama family in Akirino, Japan. Japan changed my life in so many ways. Going on this trip helped me realize that there are so many different cultures in the world that are different than ours. It also helped me realize that the only thing that was in my way of having fun was myself. Once I got over the fact that I was 6,303 miles away from my family, I had fun. I think my favorite cultural thing that my host family took me to do was wearing a kimono to a historical museum that was right across the street from their house. If I went back to Akirino, Japan, one thing I would do differently is try not to be so worried about what my family was doing back at home without me. As much as I knew they wouldn't be doing anything fun without me, I still worried about this because I love doing fun things with my family and I didn't want to be left out of going to do fun things. I wish I realized sooner how loving, kind, and caring my host family was, because once I realized that they treated me like part of their family, I felt right at home. The home of Yoko and her family is my home too, and if I ever go back to Japan with my family, I will make sure to visit them. I remember going to Japan like it was yesterday, and I will never forget how much my host family loved me.
Hi, my name is Ethan Reed, and when I went to Japan, I got to try Japanese food, and I learned how the little things make such a big difference in Japanese culture. The only thing that I found a slight bit difficult was understanding the school classes, but my absolute favorite thing was my host family. They were making sure I got to experience Japan in every way possible, and without them, I wouldn't have been able to see nearly as much of Japan. I feel that I am now much more independent. Thank you. My trip to Japan was one I will never forget. The kindness and generosity from the host family to schoolmates was so impactful. It made Japan feel like a second home. I was fortunate enough to be able to see and travel lots of places. One place I went was the zoo. The animals there were very different, ones I've never seen before. It was a good experience because it let me accomplish one of my goals of seeing wildlife in Japan. I also got to see Big Buddha and one of the temples in Japan. They let me see what the culture was like in Japan, and it showed me how different it was from America. One of my favorite things I did in Japan was to go to my host brother's school. It was a whole new experience. Fortunately, all the people there were very nice. One thing I really loved about the school was the gym class. It was completely different from America. The kids were very free through the school, and I had a great time playing baseball with everyone there. It made me realize how strong communities are in Japan. Everyone in the school looked out for each other, even if we were not great at what we were doing. I learned the most about Japanese lifestyle from spending time at home with my family. They taught me how to eat there, they showed me some Japanese board games, and we went to some great restaurants. I really loved the steak. Another one of my favorite memories was when I got to see my host brother's kendo practice. At the end of the practice, the kendo master was kind enough to teach me a little bit. I'm definitely not suited for kendo, but that experience of Japanese culture showed me how meaningful kendo is to Japan. All in all, my trip to Japan was amazing, and it would be impossible to summarize it all in just 2 minutes. But what I learned at the end of the trip was that the Japanese lifestyle is not that different from American. They all live together just like we do. They all go to school, they all play sports, and they all eat at restaurants. So at the end of the day, all people of Akaruno and Marlborough aren't very different at all. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Alexis De Leon and I'm in 8th grade. My experience in Japan was amazing and exciting. It was so good so good to see how welcoming and patient the families were. They always made sure I had everything I needed. My favorite thing there was the schools. The schools were very nice. It definitely changed the way I think about things. They didn't have more than half the stuff that we do here, such as auditoriums, whiteboards, computers, and way more. All the students knew exactly what they were doing, and when the bell rang, there was not one student out of their seat. As you already know, that's way different than Wickham. This trip definitely gave me a little more patience. It was hard not being able to understand anything anyone was saying. But I'll admit, it got me a little scared, but that only made me more independent. Also, it made me more confident talking to strangers. I would without a doubt go again. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Violet Ren, one of the 8th graders that went on this trip. So, one of the biggest things that I was thinking about before I went was that the 13-hour plane flight would be my first time ever stepping foot on a plane. Being away from anyone else that I really knew well, for that matter. So basically, I'm all alone, doing takeoff, clutching the armrest so hard that my knuckles turned white, trying my best to look completely normal as everyone else around me is carrying along with their daily business. Thankfully, on the return flight, I had a much easier time with takeoff and landing. Other than the times that the program was together as a group, most of the time I had to talk to adults by myself, which was a big change for me personally, because usually I prefer talking with peers that are my own age. But because even though I had my host siblings, I didn't go to the same school as them, which created the need to be more independent. So as a result, I ended up interacting with my host father more than I suspect that other students had to, because of that, because I didn't have as much time with my host siblings. So also, it's always easier for me to trying to speak with people my own age, because usually adults have more authority than my peers. But because of this exchange program, I have learned to speak with and, if necessary, assert myself with adults. And after coming back, I have also realized that I have a much easier time talking and communicating with my teachers, which is a very important skill to have. And I would like to thank everyone that made this trip possible, because I will certainly remember it for the rest of my life.
Hello everyone, I'm Cameron Garrity, along of the students that went to Japan, of course. It was definitely 100%, without a doubt, life-changing experience. It was something that will stick with me forever, and I will definitely pass down towards anyone else who might want to go in the future with Ms. Patel and the rest of the group. We did a lot of things as a family, but also with the rest of the group, and probably one of my favorite things that we've done was the Friday night before we came home. We had a barbecue out in the family yard with 2 of the other students and their families, and we had all kinds of stuff: lobster, shrimp, sushi, whole 9 yards. It was a whole buffet on a little tiny bench. But it was a really, really tough yet really pleasing experience to take. As though the language barrier and not having silverware, it was more of a laughing journey than it was a, all right, now you're doing this kind of thing. So it was, every step that you took going anywhere was a real eye-opener, and it really showed you exactly how different places of the world work and how each form of society interacts with the other. And it was a real life changer. I don't think I could put it into words of how much it really meant to me and how the things that were going through my head when I was doing it. The greatest thing I think I'll ever do, and I really hope I'm able to go back again. But I don't know. It's hard to say. It's just a spectacular experience, and I hope that we can keep doing it for a very long time. Thank you.
So those were the 12 students. Thank you for giving us the time. I just want to say thank you to the parents for taking a risk and sending their children off 6,000 something miles away with Miss Roach, Mr. Shavs, and me. So thank you.
Anyone have any questions?
Okay, you got to have one.
All right.
All right.
Go ahead.
So, any of you all can answer. What was your inspiration for wanting to take this trip? Or was it kind of jumping out on a ledge and giving it a try, or parents suggesting? Anyone?
Come up to the microphone.
You have to speak into the... Well, so one day I was just in my homeroom and my social studies teacher said, there's this trip, and I'm like, I didn't know about that trip. Sounds exciting. I guess I'll try. I really don't think I'm going to get in. And then I see that I get in. I'm like, whoa, this is a big thing. And I'm like, I'm really excited for this. I'm going to prepare for this. I'm going to enjoy this. It's going to be wonderful. And I really did enjoy it.
That's great. Thank you.
Ethan lived his best life there.
Sounds good. So if you all had a chance to encourage someone else, do you all feel like you would try and encourage your peers to take the chance, even if they had never been on a plane ride? And I guess that's the one thing I guess I would say to you, please do, because it's an amazing program. I had children that were fortunate to go. My son went with Ms. Patel's son and lived through a typhoon as well. But please continue to talk up the program, because it's through you all being ambassadors that it's going to keep the program going as strong as possible. And thank you, because you all, in your own way, had a lot of courage to step out and do something different. And independent was a key thing I kept hearing from you all again and again, which is great. So thank you.
Thank you.
Just a quick note for all the parents. In about a week and maybe a couple days, the link to this meeting will be on our website. So if you wanted to share it with anybody in your family, it's on Vimeo. So it's easy to just send the link in case you didn't get enough pictures or anything like that. But just because it'll have a live feed video that's obviously on tonight, but you could send the link to your family so they can see the wonderful work that your students just did.
Great. Thank you. Thanks for coming.
Thank you, everyone.
Okay. I always cry. I know. Okay. Ask groups. I don't know what the breakdown was.
They're so innocent.
Okay. Okay, while people are on their way out, if the MEF folks want to come up to the microphone, that would be great for our next presentation.
What'd you say?
In a month, I'm sending out
Yeah.
application.
You're calling us out?
You don't want us to.
Have a good night, everyone. Enjoy your recess.
Okay.
I'm going to take this space.
So next on our agenda, we have the Marlborough Education Foundation. Board members are here to award the grants for the 2019-2020 school year. And I believe Mrs. Barnum is
Hello,
once
everybody.
again double dipping tonight.
So the Marlborough Education Foundation is pleased to provide this year $9,233.37 to fulfill the grant requests of 9 different teachers from different schools. And with generous donations and underwriting from the DuPont Corporation and Fisheye Software, we were able to fund 8 grant applications. And with the addition of these grants, it brings the total that MEF has been able to provide to our school district $210,193 for 885 grants since 1997. Yeah. So the first up is $1,000 being awarded to Suzanne Venkataraman, the library media specialist at Marlborough High School. Did I say your name correctly? Oh, sorry. Mrs. V. Oh, Venkataraman. Sorry. And this is for a creative STEAM project with a circuit maker. And the grant will allow for the purchase of 2 circuit maker cutting machines and tools and materials to go with it. And a circuit maker is a cutting machine that hooks up to a computer or mobile device and cuts intricate designs from a variety of materials using the circuit software. This grant is being underwritten by Fisheye, a software project and engineering services company based in Maynard, which promotes science and STEM classes in the schools. So congratulations. All right, so our second and third grant, I suppose, is for the Early Childhood Center, and Ms. Karen Briggs is representing ECC. The first is for $970.29 and is to fund a project through which preschoolers learn about multi-ethnic families and emotional expressions while working on puzzles. Puzzles encourage the development of hand-eye coordination, fine motor skills, and problem-solving skills. These puzzles will feature photographs of families from various ethnic backgrounds and provide an opportunity for children to learn and converse about different cultures. And the second one is for $264.99 to purchase 9 storytelling kits, which will enhance language and literacy. While reading to children help develop language and listening skills, providing them with storytelling props further enhances language and literacy by increasing active attention, encouraging ability to retell stories and sequence events, and allow children to bring stories to life. So congratulations. The next one is for Erica Ledger for second graders at Jarek School for $233.26 for flexible seating for the classroom. Teachers have found that the environment in which learners work and how they are seated has a large impact on how successful they are in doing work. And this project will allow students to be able to try various types of seating so they can discover what works best for them when doing independent work. Congratulations. So the next one is a big one for Wickham Robotics program. It's $1,847.88 is being awarded to Joanne Mahoney and Jeff Gay to purchase 2 V5 competition starter kits. And VEX Robotics is a student-centered STEM activity where students integrate problem-solving, cooperation, and teamwork to accomplish a goal, a workable robot. And the team competes with other robotics teams locally, nationally, and possibly at a worldwide competition. So this V5 motor kit has the newest robotic components available, and this grant is possible and underwritten by the DuPont Corporation through its Marlborough Division of Electronic Solutions and Imaging, which wishes to promote and support STEM and STEAM programs in the schools. Congratulations. Okay, so the next one is for Marlborough High School and the Hildreth Building, represented by Stephanie Gill, for 11th and 12th grade science. And this grant is for $3,340 for Principle of Biomedical Science course tools and materials. This course provides an introduction to biomedical science through exciting hands-on projects and problems, and students investigate concepts of biology, medicine, as they explore health conditions including heart disease, diabetes, sickle cell disease, and infectious diseases. This grant is also being underwritten by a generous donation from the DuPont Corporations as well. So congratulations. Okay, next one is for Jarek School for Tracy Capadonna and Jennifer Collins. They're being awarded $999 for an iPad pens for their second grade classrooms. Logitech pencils provide a new means of access to writing for many students, and they will serve 2 main purposes: to ease the task of pencil and paper and to provide a choice for students who become frustrated easily with pencil and paper writing tasks. And our last one goes to Kelly Hall at Wickham School for $578.58 for the grant award, Engineering for All Learners, to fund materials and resources that will allow her students with various types of learning disabilities to be successful in engineering class.
Congratulations.
So I want to thank everybody, both the MEF folks as well as all the teachers that submitted grants, both those that were awarded grants as well as those that unfortunately were not, because, without this is a partnership, and, without the teachers coming up with these amazing enrichment ideas, we wouldn't be able to give out all this money. I'm hoping that maybe everyone can get together with the MEF folks and get a picture
Can we come right
before.
up
And you're certainly welcome to stay. You don't have to stay for the rest of the meeting if you don't have to, but. Are you gonna, who's taking the picture? Okay.
Yeah, right here. Facing you? Yeah,
Oh.
sure. Facing us. Why don't you guys go because you're MEF? No? Okay, don't. Whatever. Then don't. That's what. Get in that picture. Hop in. Okay. Ready?
Put your hands down, okay?
Sorry. Just trying. I got it. Thank you. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Superintendent's report.
Thank you,
Mr.
Madam Vice Chair.
Bergeron.
It's tough to follow that.
I know. Good stuff.
Two wonderful presentations. Thank you so much. Obviously, very thankful to all the teachers for such great proposals to MEF, and just extremely grateful for the support from MEF. And, when it comes to Akaruno, I think my comment would just be it's a pillar. I think that's the best way to describe it. So my report tonight, first I'd like to update the committee on our elementary enrollment. I did provide you with some projected and actuals based on, this was about a week ago, and yes, it does change that quickly. But what we're looking at now is that we have very few classrooms that are under 22 students per classroom. We do have some classrooms that are significantly above that, particularly at the Richer School with grade 3 and 4, both being 24 and above. Jarrick Elementary, the 4th grade is at 27. And those are not class sizes that are going to be conducive to what we want our students to have for a social and academic experience. So, 2nd grade is the only class that is below 22 students per classroom on average. So our bubble classes have become more of a norm than a bubble, and we're starting to see a significant enrollment above 400 on average in some of these classes. So one thing is just obviously I'm going to have to make some recommendations in next year's budget to address this, and the only way to address the class size is to request more FTE for teaching for elementary to be able to lower these class sizes to something much more manageable for everyone. In addition, I just wanted to also point out that we are now servicing more than 1,200 students in our EL program, and 602 of those students, as of last week, were in grades 1 through 5. So we are growing in that population. Again, in the budget, I think you can expect me to additionally request support so we can continue to support that program in a high way, and continue to keep the sizes of those programs manageable as well. It's not a very conducive learning environment when you have 30 students in a level 1 or 2 class who are trying their best, and the teachers are trying their best, but we need to invest into those programs. It is a population that is well served, and we do a good job, but we have to maintain our teaching ratios at a rate that is appropriate for the number of students that we have. My second item is also just to update the committee. I did go and meet with Mr. Steve Kerrigan, the city clerk, about presidential primary voting. And I adjusted my request to the school committee, which you'll see tonight. In the last 2 presidential primary elections, which are happening in March, I gave you the voter turnouts. In 2012, it was 3,333 voters. In 2016, it was 9,947 voters. And what's not on here is we did quickly look back to 2008, and that was closer to 10,000 as well. So based on the fact that we have candidates with Massachusetts political roots in the race, both Mr. Kerrigan and I believe there will be a good turnout for this election in 2020. Based on this prediction, really that's what it is. I do believe the best option is to close school on March 3rd, 2020, and move the half professional day to March 12th to split up the week for parents need to arrange for childcare. This would move our last day from Monday, June 15th to Tuesday, June 16th. Parking is difficult. I say difficult. Parking can be nearly impossible when our lots are with school open at the same time. And with an expected turnout of close to or more than 10,000 voters, we want to have a safe environment for everyone involved, and we want to have a productive school day as well. The other option that potentially we could look at, if it pleases the committee, and we don't have to do this tonight, we could do it at the next meeting, is we could potentially have a late start that day. So we could still get the day in, but potentially not have like a late start like we would on a inclement weather day, where we know we can get the roads clear by a certain time and have a 2-hour delay and have kids come in a little bit later. But I'm expecting, based on my conversations with Mr. Kerrigan, it's going to be a pretty good turnout for this primary. We think that something needs to be done. So you have my recommendation for later in the meeting, and I'm happy to answer questions at the end of my report. On Thursday and Friday, principals delivered notices of staff assignment to our faculty for next year. This is one of our first major steps in preparing for opening our 4th elementary school, and we're excited to start having our faculty meet and get to know new colleagues across the district. We're also planning on tours of the new building for staff members, and we're working on scheduling those now. We've actually already scheduled a couple of those, and we've sent out some invitations. While Ms. Mulcairn is going to be inviting her new staff members to tour with her, I've invited the MEA, the leadership, and the labor management team to tour with me. So they get the short end of the stick. They get to tour with me instead of Amy. This won't be nearly as fun, but we want to start to get people to tour the building to start to see the work that's being done out there. Additionally, I've attached a list of MHS students who have been selected to receive the John and Abigail Adams scholarships. Just a reminder, the scholarships will be presented on Wednesday, December 4th at 10 a.m. at MHS. School committee members have been invited to attend. If anyone can attend, it'd be a wonderful thing to do. Right after that, we're going to have a policy meeting. So I know there's a couple people who can attend, which is great. Again, just want to congratulate all of the students who have won the John and Abigail Adams Scholarship, and we will be recognizing those students on December 4th. And that is my report.
Any questions? Hennessy.
Thank you. So just curious with the Jarwick 4th graders, are we in a position that we have any additional staff that's trying to help them out?
Yes. So two years ago, we were in a similar position. We added a additional interventionist that was specifically really focusing on 4th grade because of the class size numbers were so high. However, we don't have any room. Yeah. So adding another teacher at this point, actually, we don't have anywhere to put anybody.
Yeah. No, I
for 6
recognize
months.
the room. I was just thinking about kind of extra hands on deck because with that, number of students within a room situation. we
I
might
never
need.
want to see that. That's
No.
too high.
Yeah.
It's way too high. And my hope is through our budgeting process, through opening the other school, we will be able to drastically avoid some of these bubble issues that have come up in the past, and be able to manage it a lot better going into the future.
Okay. Gotcha. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Diaz.
Thank you. So a quick update for the committee tonight from Finance and Operations, starting with food services. Our food service negative balance has spiked to over $4,000 compared to a negative balance of just over $3,500 during the same period last year. Last year, we saw the negative balances leveling off between October and November, and this year we're seeing a spike. We're very aware of this balance. The principals are aware, food service personnel, and we're following up with families. We do remind all families who have not yet submitted an application for free and reduced lunch to please do so as soon as possible. The Food Services Department has started a Harvest of the Month program, and kale was the vegetable for November. We managed to make kale exciting. There was a kale Caesar salad and a kale stir fry tried at Marlborough High, and both were actually received very well. The students were all about it. We also had our annual turkey dinner lunch on Thursday across the district. Very well attended as well. I was actually at Whitcomb, and we actually sold over 30 lunches to teachers at Whitcomb that day. It's very exciting. Transportation. I wanted to give the committee an update on how transportation is going. You might have heard some feedback from the community. There continues to be a nationwide shortage of drivers across the United States. It's impacting many districts, and Marlborough has not been immune to this issue. Our own fleet is currently short 4 permanent drivers, which is a problem. And the problem becomes larger when there are a few drivers that call out sick on the same day. This resonates with parents who are seeing buses that are coming late or arriving later than usual. And some stops, unfortunately, sometimes are missed altogether. There's been some frustration across the district. A lot of Marlborough personnel has stepped up to help, which is very much appreciated. So we appreciate the support of everyone who's stepping up to help, and we also appreciate the patience of the community as we work through this. Some light at the end of the tunnel here is that 2 of our primary transportation vendors, NRT and Vanpool, have formed a strategic partnership merger. And in order to try and address the driver shortage issue, they have actually approached 100 plus van drivers that works for Vanpool with a $3,000 bonus for them as long as they upgrade their 7D licenses to a CDL license. They had a meeting a couple of weeks ago. Over 45 drivers signed up for the program, which is great news. Yeah. The bad news is that this is a process that takes some time. So the remedy is not going to be immediate, but it's good to know that they are working on some kind of resolution. FY21 budget. The superintendent is proposing, superintendent and I are proposing a budget schedule for a budget calendar for FY21 that's very similar to last year's. So much so that if you look at the calendar in front of you, you will see 2019 instead of 2020.
Oops.
The days are correct. The year is not. This is very similar to last year, including a school committee workshop on a Wednesday after a Tuesday school committee meeting at 6 p.m., similar to what we did last year. So happy to have any feedback on that before we propose the actual schedule on the next school committee meeting. That's all.
Questions for Mr. Diaz? Mrs. Matthews.
On the transportation, how do I ask this? So our wages haven't changed because the contract changes July 1, correct?
That's correct.
I don't know if I want to say it out loud or not, but does NRT, when they hire their bus drivers, do they offer them where they choose to drive? I mean, you know, like the towns that they drive in, or is it, because obviously we're probably one of the first districts to do what we did. And would that draw drivers away from other communities, which is good for us because we might get the full, which, I mean, it's going to encourage other communities to look at their contracts as well. But that might put us in a better position next year with that, if employees know there's an option.
That was absolutely our hope, is that we setting a floor.
And I'm putting it out there in the world, yeah. I mean,
so next year, the least the NRT can pay a driver is $25 an hour, which is competitive, and we're hoping that will make driving from Marlborough more appealing to drivers in the area. But that goes into effect July 1, 2020.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Seeing none, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Acceptance of minutes. Acceptance of the minutes of October 15th. Mrs. Matthews.
Motion to accept October 15th minutes.
Motion made and seconded to accept. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Opposed?
Motion to accept October 29th school committee minutes.
Motion made and seconded to accept the minutes of October 29th. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Opposed? Carries.
And motion to accept the minutes of November 12th.
Motion made and seconded to accept the minutes of November 12th. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Opposed? Carries. Thank you. Public participation. Public participation. Seeing none. Action items, changes to the March 2020 school calendar. Mr. Bergeron.
Thank you, Madam Vice Chair. On Tuesday, March 3rd, 2020, the presidential primary will take place in the Commonwealth. 4 of our schools, Wickham, Richer, Kane, and Hildreth, are used by the city to set up voting polls. I did meet with our city clerk, Mr. Steve Kerrigan, to look at historical information for previous presidential elections. We do expect a high turnout, especially with the hometown candidates that are currently in the race.
And growing as each day goes by.
I wasn't going to touch any of that. I was candidates.
He did.
Well, there are a couple right now. So my recommendation, and you can feel free to take action on that table. I mean, it's right now. This is what I feel the best course of action is for Tuesday, March 3rd to be no school. Tuesday, March 5th would be a full day of school, and we would move the early release day to Thursday, March 12th. And that would be our early release day for professional development. Trying to give enough time so that there's enough notice for everyone to make plans and be able to arrange childcare as necessary. We also, when we took an early look at this calendar, we also didn't want to have a no school day and an early release day in the same week because we felt that that may be a burden for some folks. So that's why we wanted to move the 5th to the 12th. Another option, I just want to make sure you're aware of all the options, is we could do we could do a late start. So we could intentionally have a late, like 2-hour delay, as you would, and have that be on voting day as well. With 10,000 people voting, it's still going to be a lot of people in and out of the schools, and you know, it's just something that I would feel more comfortable with no school with that many people voting. And certainly for the next November, for the presidential election, I did look at those numbers too, and we always take that day off. That day almost doubles in terms of how many voters get out. Right. So it's significant. And also next September, there's also a state primary. So we have a lot of voting issues to look at in next year's calendar.
Yeah. Did you want to say something? Should we make the motion? Would you like to make a motion?
Motion to accept the proposed change of no school on the 3rd, full day of school on the 5th, and a half day on the 12th.
Motion made and seconded to accept the recommendation of the superintendent. Any discussion?
I have a question. So my concern is, in terms of childcare, it's still putting a challenge for parents because now they have to find coverage for a full day on the 3rd and then a half day the following week. Would it be possible to is there a possibility of moving that March half day to another month? Like, can we do it in April, or is that like?
So the only problem with that is it's the one opportunity to do MCAS training with all of our support staff, because that needs to take place during the school day.
Yeah.
And so we could work around it, but that is the one issue.
And that's a great question. Any earlier, we're running into February vacation, the end of that. Any later, we're already in MCAS.
Oh, right, because MCAS is.
So it's right in that sweet spot.
So I don't know if we could do this for the full day, but for the half day, can we arrange to have the after-school program, before and after-school programs?
I actually asked
They are
Chris to
extended.
set up on the full day as well.
So for folks who are using before and after school, their kids could go for the rest of the day and not have that break.
So I asked Mr. Diaz. You're going to shake your head, yes? I did do that. It's been a long week. It's only 2 days, it's just a joke. But we did reach out to Boys and Girls Club because with a change like this in the calendar, we wanted to know what their ability to serve families was going to be, because we don't want to make things tougher. So we did reach out to them to see if they could provide service on the full day off as well.
So that includes like the service that they offer at the schools and their Pleasant Street
Yes.
location, they would be able to accommodate.
Yeah, and we still have to develop a plan with them to see how we can use the schools, because remember, the voting usually takes up the areas they're
Gyms.
traditionally in.
Yeah.
So we'd have to find non-traditional areas for them to be, but there's ways, I think, to work around it to be able to help parents, and that's really what we're looking to do.
Exactly.
So it'd be Clubhouse Plus. That's kind of what we're looking for.
Okay. So the motion that's on the table is not to go for the early release day. It's to go for the full, which personally, I think on an early release, a late start day, when there's not a weather issue, I would imagine faculty oftentimes would come in at their regular time just to be able to get stuff done, and then the parking is not going to be solved.
Right.
Yeah, I don't see. I think we need to take it off, personally. Any further discussion? Seeing none on the motion. All in favor? Opposed? Carries. Okay. District level commitment to comply with, is it CHIP specs? They say CHIPS even though there's no I?
CHIPS.
Best practices.
Thank you.
Mr. Diaz.
The next two action items actually relate to our seeking membership and compliance with Northeast CHIPS. Our ability to do that will get the City of Marlborough additional reimbursement for our construction project of the new elementary school. The committee has been presented with a couple of these items a few meetings ago. Those items were brought to Northeast CHIPS. Item 9B in front of you tonight, you've seen before and you've voted for before. They recommended changes to what you've seen, which the only changes were the 5 bullets on the recommendations. And they're asking that we specified that we would apply these thresholds to new schools, major renovation projects, new building on existing campuses, additions to an existing building, and prefabricated classrooms. That's the only change on this. So by voting for this, we are committing to complying with CHIPS requirements and best practices by meeting or exceeding CHIPS qualifying thresholds on all of those projects.
On the prefab classrooms, is that any new ones going forward, or are there things we need to do to amend the ones we already have?
This is projects moving forward.
Okay.
A motion to accept the recommendation.
Are we doing both together or just one at a time?
I can speak to the second one if you'd like. This one is new.
Doesn't matter to me, I don't care.
Well, let's take them one at a time.
Okay.
Motion made and seconded to approve 9B. Any discussion? Mrs. Matthews.
Mr. Diaz, I just have probably the obvious question here. Since we voted on it already, and it applies to the current building project, and any projects going forward that would include these 5 bullets, in order to get reimbursed, would have to go through the state anyhow, and we'd have to approve things again. Why would they ask us to approve something that they're going to ask us to approve if we do anything again?
So we may have projects that aren't funded through the state. They're just saying that moving forward, if we undergo projects, so for example, if we choose to add 5 modular classrooms, which I'm not saying we would, we may decide to do that on our own without MSBA help. They're just saying that we would follow CHIPS requirements during those projects.
But following CHIPS in this regard is in order for us to gain a greater percentage of reimbursement.
Yes.
So they're just saying as a courtesy.
They're saying that we would become a highly energy efficient district, period, in all of our undertaking, including the item number 9C, which is next, which is talking about technology purchases.
Right.
And we did one about equipment purchases.
Got it. Thank you. You clarified it. Yep.
Good. On the motion, any other discussion? Seeing none. On the motion to accept the recommendation on 9B. All in favor? Opposed? Carries. 9C.
9C relates to a resolution to purchase electronic devices that meets the requirements of the EPEAT, I might have just made that up, rating system. And this was sent to us directly from Northeast CHIPS. This resolution on this that was attached to the action item was drafted by them, and they're hoping that we approve this as written.
Motion to approve the resolution which reads that the Marlborough Public Schools School Committee is committed to purchasing school electronic devices, including computers, imaging devices, and TV/AV systems that meets the requirements of the EPAT rating system, silver or gold level.
And just as an aside, I spoke to Mr. Mark Gibbs about being able to comply with this moving forward. He had a similar question, is this moving forward? The answer is yes, and he has no concerns.
Great. Okay. Thank you. Motion has been made and seconded to approve this resolution. Any discussion? Mrs. Hennessy.
Thank you. I'm sorry. I just
She just woke up.
No, I'm kind of looking at it. So is Mark Gibbs going to take on making sure that everything is up to snuff to meet the EP?
This is just going forward.
No, I understand, but from a moving forward standpoint, so things will then need to funnel in through him?
So
they are anyways.
I just am.
Our technology purchases funded through Mark's department, as is.
Right.
We will have support by the consultants that are working with us to comply with Northeast CHIPS for the next year. So there will be some ongoing support to get us started. But yes, the expectation is that we would comply with this moving forward in order to honor our commitment to this.
Sounds like a yes. I don't think it's a bar that is unreasonable. So I think we'll be able to do it.
Okay.
Without too much of an effort or to change our current practices.
And that's, I guess, my only thinking was a bit around the firewall situation, which we already have some challenges at times about firewalls. So that was,
This is energy.
This is electronic devices, including computers and stuff. And so to me,
But it's the use of energy and things like that to keep them green. Less carbon footprint.
Environmental.
I don't think
I don't think it will be a significant challenge for us to meet this standard.
All right, thank you.
And I'm just, since we're on the subject of our previous presentation from MEF, keeping in mind when the products that the teachers have ordered, they will all be going through purchase orders. And so just procedurally, anytime there's a purchase order that would be purchasing something in one of these type categories,
Technology.
they would then be screened through Mark's office. Okay, great. Seeing no further discussion, all in favor? Opposed? Was that, are we voting here? Could you stop laughing and vote, please?
I think we need to separate those two.
I think we're all good. Thank you. Boy, Mr. Diaz is hugging this agenda here. FY20 operating budget transfers.
It is all in before Christmas. This is it for me, I promise.
This is before Thanksgiving. You still have another month before Christmas.
Only one more meeting.
One more meeting.
I'll be light on the next meeting.
Transfers are good.
We have only a few transfers for tonight. As per usual, we're going to go through building by building. Over at Kane, I'm requesting a transfer of $12,100, in which we're utilizing savings in the reading teacher line to offset overages in the health wellness line due to a personnel change. At Jarrick, I'm requesting a transfer of $12,000, utilizing salary reserve to offset overages in the reading teacher line. At Richard, requesting a transfer of $7,000, utilizing savings in the reading teacher line to offset increases in the special education paraprofessional line. At Whitcomb, requesting a transfer of $16,400, utilizing savings in the special education teacher line to offset overages in the reading teacher line and the paraeducator line. At Marlborough High, requesting a transfer of $14,200 from the science teacher line to offset the clerk and the history teacher line due to a long-term sub being needed there. And district-wide, just $4,380 in savings in the summer behavior tech and OS software line to offset district-wide and human resources, contracted services, night custodian, and network software lines.
Motion to accept the transfers as proposed.
Motion made and seconded to accept the recommendation for transfers. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Opposed? Carries.
Thank you.
Thank you. Acceptance of donations and gifts. Ohio Pile. Wow, $208.30.
That's a lot of money from there.
That's a lot from them.
Motion to approve $208.30 from Ohio Pile.
Motion made and seconded to approve. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Opposed? Carries. ASPN Pharmacies for all schools, $1,544.
Motion to accept.
Motion made and seconded to accept. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Opposed? Carries. Brigham Family Trust. Whitcomb School 7th grade technology, $3,395, and the Early Childhood Center, $1,200.
Motion to accept.
Motion made and seconded to accept. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Opposed? Carries. Life Touch National School Studios, Kane Elementary School, $1,171.40.
Motion to accept.
Motion made and seconded to accept. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Opposed? Carries. Marlborough Education Foundation, various recipients, $9,233.37.
Motion to accept.
Motion made and seconded to accept. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Opposed? Carries. Thank you, thank you. Reports of school committee subcommittees. Any subcommittees? Mrs. Hennessy.
Thank you. So we did have a policy meeting recently. We have a lot on our list of things to do. Just some updates that we're looking relative to the graduation requirements. Nothing major or drastic. Just had some discussions with Mr. Riley, and moving forward on that, we're going to have a meeting next week, December 4th, after the John and Abigail Adams event. We're going to get together and keep moving forward. And that is it.
Thank you. Any other subcommittees? Seeing none. Members Forum. Mrs. Matthews.
Two things. One, I know for the members that were attended MASC, we talked about bringing it back and discussing it. So I'm hereby suggesting at our next school committee, and the superintendent recommended that we use it under members forum, but be prepared to speak to your
experience.
To the sessions that you attended and takeaways. That's number one. Number two, I reviewed the warrant and I will sign it.
Thank you. Other members? Nothing, Hennessy, huh? Okay, I have a few things. Hold your horses. I had a wonderful day today. I got to, along with a couple other people, Mr. Bergeron and Mrs. Murphy, attend the Hildreth annual Thanksgiving dinner. It was a lovely, delicious affair, as usual. And also, a few of us were able to go to the high school today for a ceremony and a banner raising, or unveiling, I should say, that Marlborough High School, is it just the high school or the whole district? The high school was recognized as a national unified champion school through the Special Olympics for the partnerships that we have made with them and the work that the students and faculty at the high school have been doing really since 2008 or 2013, when we were one of 8 initial schools to take on the unified track program, which has been expanded to basketball and soon to be bocce. But we have a nice new banner hanging in the field house, along with all of the banners for all the other sports, as it should be. And it was there was a fun basketball game between the unified team and the faculty, and it was really great. And then yesterday, the superintendent and I were able to go to a professional development session that was a collaboration of Mass Association of School Committees, Mass Association of School Superintendents, and the Department of Elementary and Secondary Education on the changes or proposed changes to the superintendent evaluation process. I think we both felt that the new direction that it's moving in is easier, makes much more sense. And I had proposed, and we'll talk some more about setting up a workshop meeting, maybe early spring, late winter, to review it. And there are some, there's actually a the deck from the presentation that we went to, as well as some kind of how-to videos that they've put out that we'll disperse and kind of maybe do a flipped classroom sort of activity where people can view that stuff prior to us meeting, and it'll help to inform our conversation.
Yep. It's a good presentation.
Good. Yeah, I thought
felt
it was
like we were checking
great.
a lot of boxes already, but
yeah.
It's definitely some things we can improve on.
For sure. And happy, safe Thanksgiving to all. And anyone else?
Let the Thanksgiving recess begin.
Let it begin.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion made and seconded to adjourn. Now he shows up. Literally, I was about to. No, I did all the work. Motion made and seconded to adjourn. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Opposed? We are adjourned at 8:46.